Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to What You Need to Know. I am Sybil Wilkes, and you need to know these lovely ladies who are here with me today. We are starting a four-part series every Tuesday with the Sisters United for Reform, members of this wonderful organization. And today we are featuring conversation with President Rasheeda Liberty, the international president of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, as well as President Sharon Beard, president of the Top Ladies of Distinction. And we are going to be talking about some serious topics, especially in this period of time. This is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We're going to be talking about that, as well as mental health, wellness, and care during this time of the coronavirus. Ladies, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you again, President Liberty. Thanks for coming back after our last visit with the Divine Nine. I appreciate it. And President Beard, this is our first time meeting, so I thank you for joining us today. Um,
Sure.
what we know about What You Need to Know and what people may or may not know is that What You Need to Know is a newsletter that we put together every day, Monday through Friday. As I have learned from the great Tom Joyner, we are here to super serve the African American community, and we deliver news items that are of interest to our community. And we try to do our very best every Monday through Friday and deliver that to your email box. So first thing in the morning, giving you stories about politics, about social justice, about health and wellness, as well as your financial wellness and future. And we also give you a little bit about Black history facts, as we did on the Tom Jordan Morning Show. And of course, we talk about the beloved historically Black colleges and universities. If you will go to sybilwilkes.com and sign up for our newsletter, we would love to have you as a part of the What You Need to Know news crew. And today, as always, we are also talking about events that are going on in our homes, but also in our world. And what you will hear tomorrow, or what you will also see tomorrow, because we give you a little bit of audio as well as the newsletter itself, talking about this incredible speech given by Joe Biden today. Today, we are 4 weeks out from the November 3rd election. Many people have already started voting in their respective states. But Joe Biden gave a speech, as I have said, the speech of his campaign, if not of his political career. I don't know if you ladies got a chance to hear any of it today. He spoke from Gettysburg, of course, the site of the Gettysburg Address, and where the president who's done only a little bit more than Donald Trump, Abraham Lincoln, spoke. It was timely, and it was something that people had been asking for, and especially African Americans. That the Gettysburg Address, of course, where Abraham Lincoln announced the freedom of slaves, the freeing of the enslaved, and Joe Biden spoke to African Americans today, the progenitors of those slaves, and of course the backbone of the Democratic Party. He also spoke to the people, the families of more than 210,000 people who have died, and the 7 million who have been affected in this country by coronavirus, despite the fact that it's been downplayed by the current resident of the White House, even though he has been hospitalized for coronavirus. It was really quite moving. It was powerful. It was, I dare say, a speech that not even our former president, Barack Obama, could have given, but it was one in which Joe Biden spoke from the heart, and also answered a lot of questions regarding what are you doing for Black people, and why should we support you? He gets it. And I think he demonstrated that in his speech today. Um, as a part of what we're talking about, and of course, as I said, 4 weeks from today is the November 3rd election. The sisters who are United for Reform are also, and in your respective organizations, President Liberty and President Beard, are talking about a voter engagement. Anything you would like to talk about, or what you all are doing in your individual organizations to get people to vote?
Yes, I'll begin. Um, so we know that challenging times calls for adventurous women. So, Top Ladies of Distinction Incorporated, we have doubled our efforts in voter registration,
Right.
voter education, voter mobilization, getting our constituents out to vote, providing platforms and newsletters and forums to share information, to encourage individuals to allow for their voices to be heard. There's so much work to do, and we have also um, shared with them that there are opportunities for them to learn more about the system, the justice
Mhm.
system. And
Mhm.
in order to do all of that, we must get them out to vote. So the voters registration, voter mobilization has been top of the list for us. However, it is not anything new to us. We've always promoted voter registration, even amongst our youth group Top Teens of America.
Mhm.
So they understand um, how and when their voices need to be heard.
President Liberty, how about your sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated? What are you all doing?
So Sigma Gamma Rho made a bold commitment with a partnership with When We All Vote. And
Mhm.
so with
Yes.
that partnership, we committed to 22,000 registered voters. And in that process, we have established our own unique QR code that allows us to engage electronically more so, given that we're in a COVID environment. So it's very
Mhm.
difficult to register people.
Mhm.
We are now making that shift out of voter registration commitment to get out to vote and developing what that plan looks like in early voting as well as the day of voting. We're hosting a pre-presidential forum event on October 15th, so next week, where we will be inviting different speakers to talk about one being our Congresswoman, who is also a member of our organization, Congresswoman Robin Kelly, who will
Mm.
kick it off to talk about not only having a plan to get to the polls, but what do you do when you're there? So talking about the down ballot voting and the importance of that. So we will be bringing that. It's a phased approach. Voter registration was our big kickoff. Then it's get your plan to get to the polls and vote early. And then what do you do when you have that ballot in front of you, especially for our 18 to 25-year-old members?
Right, right. And may I just point out Congresswoman Kelly from the great state of Illinois? Just
That's
saying.
right. That's right. That's right.
So here you are, ladies, and once again, thank you for being a part of what you need to know and the news crew. The people are watching us today, and we want to talk about some serious things. Let's talk first about the Sisters United for Reform, how it was started, and what organizations make up the coalition of Sisters United for Reform. President Beard, could you talk to that?
Sure. So there is no doubt that we understand the power of standing together,
Hmm.
collectively using our uh, presence, our power, our voices, our vote to be heard and to help change the world. And I do believe that when Dr. Glenda Glover, the Bacillus, International Bacillus for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, when she um, envisioned the coalition, I believe the purpose was behind the death of George Floyd, of course,
Hmm.
because when George Floyd called out for his mother, he was calling out to all the mothers and the women around the world for justice.
Hmm.
So we share a personal reflection on how this murder and others have led to this very moment. She wanted to call uh, a venue for a call to action because enough is enough. Um, and so, as she uh, viewed the women, African American women organizations, and deemed them necessary uh, for providing a stronger and more effective synergy, the members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta, Zeta Phi Beta, Sigma Gamma Rho, the Links, the National Council of Negro Women, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the Black Women's Agenda, the National Cares
Wow.
mentoring movement, the Girlfriends Incorporated, Jack and Jill of America, of course, Top Ladies of Distinction
Mhm.
Incorporated, and the Black Women's Agenda
Wow.
Roundtable. So
Wow.
together we represent more than 5 million collective voices
Mm.
and exert our collective might to just be heard, for our voices to be heard, for our voices to lend to the vote, and for our influence and our power to be noticed.
How powerful is it, President Liberty, especially in a year like this, where you talk about coming together as a result of the murder of George Floyd and calling out for his mother, but also
Mhm,
this year where a Black woman is at the top of the ticket,
mhm,
one of the most important elections of our time. She's number two on the ticket, I should say, and having this opportunity to bring all these Black women, as you say, 5 million voices together.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very powerful stance. And one of the things that we did do as a collective, understanding that we have influence of 5 million voices, is that we did scribe an open letter to Senator Kamala Harris to let her know that we are proud that a woman is on the ticket.
mhm,
Mhm.
And that was important. And then also to really denounce some of the criticisms that she was receiving as a woman, as a mother, as a Black woman specifically. It
Mhm.
was really something that we felt passionate about, that we wanted to make sure that we maintain our level of respect, no
mhm,
matter what fields that we go into. And we wanted to let her know that as a coalition of primarily African American women that
Mhm.
serve the community, that we were definitely standing in line with her as a Black woman on a ticket. Not necessarily pledging support because we all
mhm.
are 501c7s, but we were pledging
Sure.
support for her being a woman and really holding her up to be strong during that process,
And no matter what her sorority affiliation, right?
no
Right.
matter what the sorority affiliation is, right? No matter what the sorority affiliation, yep.
Mhm.
So can you talk about what actions the organization has done thus far, and some that you, I mean, we talked about voter engagement. Anything else that you would like folks to know about? Either one of you can speak to that.
Yeah.
So, domestic violence as well as mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
mental stress disorders.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a program that Top Ladies of Distinction and the Top Teens have always supported within our Status of Women signature program. Um, so we realize we must be vigilant in connecting and collecting the data for our children.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be prepared to help them to be prepared and get them ready to face social justice issues and introduce them to the social justice system and explain the whys behind things that are happening. Because the pandemic has just provided us an opportunity to look just a little bit closer and assist our top teens and leading them to discover why certain things are happening as a impact and as the changes have come forth behind the domestic violence, with many individuals being home
Mm-hmm.
more and children out of school. It has become a topic at the top of the list in terms of our addressing those issues in order for our families to be better.
Yeah.
Well, as we said, we talk about October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month and
Mhm,
other things that are going on, but domestic abuse awareness, domestic violence awareness month is something that we don't talk about as much, but definitely this period of time as we have been quarantined in our homes with our families, and can you talk about President Liberty, why this awareness is more important now than
Yeah.
ever before?
I think it definitely is unique with COVID, with our situations with COVID,
Hmm.
because we are at home more. And just to think, just over 40 years ago, I believe, is when awareness became really primary for
Mm-hmm.
Domestic
Mhm.
Violence Awareness Month, which when you think about that, that really hasn't been that long. So when you
Right.
see us wearing the purple and we also are wearing our
Mhm.
pink in October, I think people are really starting to attention that, oh, purple means October, excuse me,
Mhm.
Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well. I think this topic has become more visible
Mm-hmm.
amongst even our organizations. So I have to really shout out our fraternities that are taking a stance on this as male, as we know most of our offenders in this space are males, right?
Right.
And so also the NBA, the NFL taking a stand and having a voice is important during this month.
Sure.
Um, the Violence Against Women's Act just passed in 1994. You think about that, that's just 25,
Mhm.
26 years ago to
Mm-hmm.
really bring visibility to this topic. So we're very young, I think, in the space of this
Mhm.
having this discussion. But I like that even we are becoming more aware. And when I say we, I mean women of color, people of color are having candid conversations during the month of October.
Could you imagine that, first of all, that we would be in this place and that so many different parts of our lives would have would be impacted by the coronavirus, and especially when you're talking about what we're talking about today, domestic violence and mental health awareness. President Beard, it just boggles the mind how things have escalated within our home as we are quarantined to our homes.
Yes, a significant portion of African Americans are on the front line as essential workers, compounding the stressors that can
Mm-hmm.
lead to domestic violence. And we're all aware of that. And African American workers make up 11.9% of all employees, but 17%
Upfront
of
line.
frontline workers. So they're out there continuing to do the work on a day to day basis while
Yeah.
we're experiencing this COVID. So this makes us more likely to be exposed to the coronavirus. And another fact is that governments have insisted we stay home and social
Mm-hmm.
distance when out to protect ourselves and others during the pandemic. For victims of domestic violence,
Yeah.
it's not good. Home is a dangerous place for them. This is making it more difficult for victims to leave abusive relationships, and many of our social services that support the victims of domestic violence are experiencing the budget cuts. And so it's more difficult to get those resources that are available. And due to the social distancing requirements, many shelters have reached capacity. So it's even difficult for us to be out in the community because many of our chapters had adopted women agencies in order to provide the resources and services. And now with the COVID, it has provided another challenge to the
Yeah.
organization.
This is a challenging time for so many things, and especially about topics.
Hmm.
We talk about this. We did a story today in the What You Need to Know newsletter about Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and this is, one of those secrets that secret things that happen in our homes that very few of us talk about. Whether it is a male abusing a woman, or in
Hmm.
some cases, women abusing men and
Hmm.
and their children, of course. But this is something that we need to talk about and share. And are you finding, this is to both of you, are you finding the conversations are becoming more frequent and people are more open to discussing this?
I would say that when if someone is being abused, it seems like it would be a bit more challenging. And the reason
Mhm.
why I say that is
Hmm.
if you're in a domestic violence situation or you're being abused, your children are less likely to talk about it because they're not in school, right?
Right.
And
Hmm.
teachers are
Right.
not able to identify it. If you're
Yeah.
living in a home with your abuser, you're less likely to be able to pick up the phone or even have access to the internet. And I
Hmm.
mean, this
Hmm.
even goes into human trafficking aspects, right? Where
Yes.
you're able to see that and be a little more visible with that. Those
Hmm.
things aren't necessarily happening easily. So I think it's more covered up and more
Yeah.
small. So we're probably residuals of this once COVID subsides.
Hmm.
We're going to see this being developed. And another thing is this is generational.
Yeah.
So now the kids are seeing maybe what mom and dad were doing or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case may be. They may be seeing that more visual and more frequent, which is also systemically rooting it in them.
Yeah. Yeah. The same thing seems to be with mental health awareness as well. This is a time where we're not getting out, we're not getting even sunshine in order to get that vitamin D to lift our spirits and things like that. And people have gotten into a very dark place in some respects. Either they've been affected directly by COVID or with a family member, or they've gotten sick themselves. And this is also a time to talk about getting help for people who are going through some sort of mental challenge. And that could just be a case of the blues, but that is certainly a part of something that leads to even greater difficulties in our efforts to create a more mentally well society, right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Absolutely.
We are talking to two wonderful women who are leaders of their organizations, and they are also a part of Sisters United for Reform, a wonderful group of organizations that have come together to talk about a lot of the issues affecting our society today. Rasheeda Liberty is the 25th International President of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and you have been a member of the sorority. It can't be 26 years.
26 years. Consistent.
So
Never
you
left.
so you started at like age 5 then, I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah.
I was a rower. That's our youth group. No.
Gotcha.
And I'm also a member of Top Ladies of Distinction for
Wonderful.
17 years.
That's
Yes.
wonderful. That's wonderful. So that's great. So here we have another connection. And as President Beard, you are the national president of Top Ladies of Distinction, and you've had nearly 25 years of experience as a human resource professional and in organizational development and performance management and recruitment and staffing. How's business these days? In terms of people and the with the closing down of businesses and people are being forced to work out of home and things like that, how is your work affected, your 9 to 5 affected by what's going on?
So, very challenging in
Hmm.
that working remotely, teleworking, providing the staff, the organization with guidelines to provide that extra arm of support.
Hmm.
But in so doing that, ensuring that that employee is okay.
Yeah.
So it's more of a health check, more of a
Hmm.
mental check versus more of the day to day work that is expected of them. And then, of course, having um, worked in human resources, it's always about ensuring your human capital.
Mm.
So overall, allowing for individuals to just breathe.
Mm.
We have managers and frontline workers who, again, feel the sense of urgency.
Hmm.
They're more, I would say, nervous or just a little have a little of an anxiety in terms of their
Yeah.
work. So it's the HR department primarily responsible for helping them to get through their day to day.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We are here on this Tuesday, What You Need to Know, on Facebook as well as YouTube, and talking to two members of Sisters United for Reform. And we would also like folks to join us here if you have any questions, as well as encourage you to please to sign up for our newsletter, What You Need to Know newsletter,
Mhm.
giving you the information. As I said today, we are talking about Domestic Violence Awareness Month in our newsletter. And if you'd like to get a hold of that, please go to sibylwilkes.com, join our What You Need to Know news crew, and join us here each afternoon, Monday through Thursday as well. sibylwilkes.com, and we can get that newsletter in your email box. We have a great group of women who are working day and night to put this together and to get it out every day, including coming down to the 10th hour and kind of retooling some things as things change in our world. So we invite you to please be a part of that. And ladies, if you wouldn't mind, and invite your members to join us
Sure.
as well. Um, President Liberty, let me ask you, what do you think that I mean, you mentioned the fact that the violence bill that was passed in 1994, and I believe that was ushered in by now Vice President Biden, or former President Biden, former Vice President Joe Biden. It's easy to say, huh?
Mhm.
But what do you think about the federal government's response to the topics such as domestic violence as well as our mental health care?
And understanding more about this topic, I did sync with Congresswoman Robin Kelly, who, like I said earlier, is also a member of the sorority. And
Mm-hmm.
before the COVID pandemic actually broke out, the House of Representatives did actually pass a bill, the
Mhm.
Violence Against Women Reauthorization Act of 2019.
Mm,
However, with COVID and all of the other political things that are going on, that
sure.
legislation is still sitting awaiting action on Senator Mitch McConnell's desk.
Mm-hmm.
So the seriousness, as I said, is the Violence Against Women Reauthorization Act of 2019. We are now closing in on the end of 2020. So that just
Right.
lets you know how long that's been sitting.
Right.
Um, the bill really modifies, reauthorizes through 2024 programs, activities, and things that protect, prevent, and really create that response to domestic violence, sexual assault, dating violence, stalking, and even some sex and human trafficking things. So when you think about the complexity of that bill, it's
Mhm.
pretty massive to
Yeah.
protect women. And we should be fighting every single day to make sure that that is a serious topic of conversation as women. Um, I would say, among other things, the bill authorizes really new programs, makes changes to some of the federal firearm laws, and establishes
Mm,
new protections to promote
Mhm.
housing stability, economic security for victims of domestic violence. Sexual assault, once again, dating violence, and stalking are really the hallmark of that bill. So I know Congresswoman Kelly, being from the Illinois area, has been very passionate around keeping guns away from violent felons.
mm-hmm.
So when you talk about felons and sometimes the mentality, not all felons, but there is a subset
Yeah.
that when guns are in their hands, they can be also the husbands and stalkers and ex-boyfriends who have been convicted of abuse that have
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
access to those guns. So it's all, when you think of that comprehensive strategy that that bill encompasses and that piece of
Mm,
legislation, is huge for us.
yeah.
It's huge.
It really is. And also something to think about. I know you cannot say this, or maybe you
Mhm.
can, I don't know. But also something to think about, that it is sitting on the desk in the United States Senate as we are preparing for an important election for 1/3 of the United States Senate. And so let's take that into consideration as
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
as people, and questions to be asked of those who are asking for our votes. What are you doing in order to make some changes, and take a look at this reauthorization bill, which is sitting on the desk of your Senate Majority Leader? I think that's a fair question.
That's a
Uh,
very fair question. Hmm.
um,
Yes.
President Beard, let me ask you this, because we've talked about, you've talked about in your business, and you both have talked about the fact that this disease, the coronavirus, has kept us in our homes, and does not give us a look and an opportunity to check on people who may be in the midst of an abusive relationship. Let's just talk about on a day-to-day basis, what are some of the signs that we may look for or may see and not really understand, but given some guidance, perhaps can look at signs of abusive relationships. Can you give us some insight on that?
Sure. Your partner has hit you, so you're showing up to work with visual bruises on your body.
Mm-hmm.
They perhaps could have strangled you in the past, or just hit you in any type of way. Um, Sometimes they're very possessive. Um, they're checking on you constantly, wondering where you are, and they get mad when they don't know where you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose to hang out with your friends or your girlfriend, or perhaps even your family, because many times you are isolated from your family and friends,
Mm-hmm.
and you're accused of being unfaithful. Um, and the jealousy, it's just more than something that's normal. Your partner sometimes puts you down in front of
Mm-hmm.
others, or just puts you down at all. They really just kind of break you down in terms of attacking your intelligence,
Mm.
your looks, your mental health, or your capabilities. You know, it's always something negative. Or they blame you for all of their violent outbursts, and they tell
Mm-hmm.
you that nobody else will want you. And if you leave, you're not going to get into another relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they also threaten you. And many times your family is involved in that as well. And so additionally, your partner physically and sexually abuses you. So whether you want to have sex or not, sometimes this becomes an issue. And if they ever push, shove, or hit you, or make you have sex with them when you don't want to, they are abusing you, even
Mm.
if it doesn't happen all the time. And so many times as women, so many times it's we want to tend to take the fall or say, "Oh, I know it's my fault," and it isn't.
Right.
So those are just some of the signs of a woman that's in a very abusive relationship.
Mhm.
It seems as though we have to be reminded of this.
Yes,
It doesn't fall on deaf ears, but yet it does bear repeating on a regular basis, doesn't it?
Mhm.
yes, it does.
Absolutely.
So, in terms of what we can do to help people, how we might help them, do you have suggestions of that, President Liberty, in terms of how those of us on the outside may
Yeah.
help and what is available?
I know right now we use a lot of, internet usage and not sometimes not phone information, because phone information sometimes can be traced. So if you're in a
Mm-hmm.
situation where you're being tracked, someone has possession of your actual cell phone bill, so they're going to see that you called someone.
Hmm.
A lot of times you have to be careful. So the hotline.org has recognized that. The
Mm.
hotline.org is a site that you are safe to visit, and it can never be tracked from your actual computer.
Wow.
And so that is a very safe place for women who may just want to explore and see if they're in a situation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's the first step of, hey, I'm not abused, but
Hmm.
I kind of want to talk about this one situation.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I'm inviting any woman or male who is in a situation where you just want to talk to someone about it, you just want to see what your options are,
Yeah.
visit the hotline.org. The phone number also, if you're in a situation where you can call, is 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. And if you want to,
SAFE.
SAFE,
Mm-hmm.
the last four digits is 7233.
Gotcha.
So 800-799, the word SAFE. The last four digits, of course, are 7233. Another organization is very similar is safehorizon.org. And they
Mm-hmm.
have different resources as well. So safehorizon.org, you can get different resources, do research to figure out, hey, is someone I know, someone I love actually in an abusive relationship? It may be a child, a sister, your mother. So just to get resources there. So 1-800-621-HOPE is that number. So 1-800-621-HOPE. I would encourage people to utilize those resources. And then there are other ways to, when I think about resources, it is contacting those family members who are
Hmm.
understanding. No matter how many times you left that person,
Mm-hmm.
walked away from that person, believe me, we are those kind of families that we're going to embrace you every single time.
Right.
So don't feel like you're in isolation.
Right. Yeah. That is good to know, and those numbers we'll have available for people as well as you continue to look at this situation this month. And we're just starting out. This is the sixth day of the month, and so a lot more conversation about this, about domestic abuse. The next question, and we're talking about also the second topic part of this conversation is about mental health. And one of the statistics given is that 45% of the adults in this country have reported that their mental health has been negatively impacted due to worry and stress over the coronavirus, job loss, isolation, and other things. And so within your membership organizations, let's say President Beard, how are you addressing this?
So, this is very interesting because one of our directives as we moved into our program year was for our members, both the ladies and the top teens, to find a way to bless someone else.
Mm.
So, whether that be through a phone call, dropping off a meal, taking someone to the doctor, raking leaves for a senior citizen, however they may answer that call. Our members and our teens have implemented that. And we also know that to ensure that the community knows that we're there, we're
Mm-hmm.
working collaboratively with other organizations that have the same like mind goals and collectively providing these services to these individuals because it's so important. We have a Me and My Mentor program in which each one of our top ladies are matched up or linked with the top team.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so very important that those relationships are cultivated and nurtured so that um, that top teen is getting whatever they can from that top lady. But in the meanwhile, this top teen is a young person from that intergenerational group that
Mm-hmm.
is providing support, hope, and some happiness to that individual. So, within our 6 areas across the United States, the Me and My Mentor program has been so very successful. And it is certainly a way that we evaluate and assess exactly what our program's impact is within the community.
And with technology being what it is, you don't necessarily have to have, or you don't necessarily match people up in the same town or community.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Hmm.
which is great because it opens your world up to so much more, right? In
It
terms of
does.
what
Yeah,
goes on in different
for
parts of the
sure.
country, right?
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
so, President Liberty, what about you in terms of your
Yeah.
organization, your sorority, and talking about these issues with your members?
Sure. We moved very swiftly in Sigma Gamma Rho. So in early around the March timeframe, April timeframe, we did a survey of our membership. Number
Mhm.
one, to assess their ability to really feel comfortable with kind of coming to our national convention. So we
Mm.
knew real quickly that we were going to make sure that we went virtual because there was just a overall discomfort in the organization, and it was definitely the right move, and we moved very quickly to make that decision. But
Mhm.
more importantly, what we did was we assessed their financial strains, COVID diagnosis,
Mm.
unfortunate loss of loved ones, and we did realize that about a quarter of our membership at that time was impacted through some way. And so, one of the first things from a financial standpoint, we realized that they also felt a bit isolated, trapped in the
Mhm.
house, a bit
Mhm.
disconnected from social engagement. We really addressed these gaps through some key solutions. And some of those key solutions were understanding the financial impact on some of our members and affiliates. We extended our grace period so that they can remain financial and
Mm.
connected to the sisterhood in some way. And so adding an additional 6 months to their financial status so that they could still engage in some ways was very important. So they didn't lose that connection. And then internally, we invested in several different electronic platforms, learning management systems, virtual accounts, opening up. We brought licenses for our chapters that may not be able to afford business licenses.
Mm.
And so to launch that so that they can still have connections and meetings as we kind of work in this virtual standpoint. Every 22nd of the month in Simi Yamaro is very important. And so you'll see 22nd images that have been consistent over the last, probably about 4 or 5 years now. So the 22nd of the month is important. But what we did was we made that 22nd of the month very important in this administration to make it a virtual connection point. So our
Mm.
first event was September 22nd, and we had a simple very simple dance party. It was Turn Up Tuesday, and our technology team flashed people dancing with their families. They listened to a lot of old school music, a lot of new school music. So we mixed the generations. It was a pretty cool thing. Just a very basic, simple concept. And this October 22nd, we're going to expand that even further to make it almost like a party with a purpose. So the event will be with our Sisters Network, which we have connected with them for breast cancer awareness and signed a partnership agreement with them, a unique partnership. And so we will focus on breast cancer, but also self-care, and there'll be some fun activities there. So it's a way that our members can look forward to. If I don't have anything else planned on the 22nd of the month, I know I'm going to get to see my sorors, my philos, my rowers in some
We've lost her a little bit.
way that kind of it's important to be connected to your membership. So I have taken it upon myself to send random notes and random cards of kindness to reach out to individuals, unsuspecting individuals, not my officers, not my friends, but people who I may see on Facebook. I get their mailing address, and I've been sending them notes just of encouragement along the way. And I've been doing that for about 4 to 5 weeks, and have received some great feedback. It's kind of an undercover thing. I don't like the publicity from the members. I kind of asked them not to do that online, but it's just a touch point for the sorors who actually receive those notes.
That's really neat. That reminds me, I need to get in touch with some of my former colleagues and coworkers. Try to touch base with them, and I haven't done it in a couple of weeks. So thank you for that reminder. All right, so we are talking to two spectacular women, and they are part of an incredible organization, Sisters United for Reform. Our panel discussion will be held every Tuesday during the month of October. Today, we are very, very fortunate to have with us President Rasheeda Liberty, the international president of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, as well as President Sharon Beard, and she is the national president of the Top Ladies of Distinction. We know about sororities, President Beard, but what about the Top Ladies of Distinction? How is that organization formed? Who are the top ladies? How do you become a top lady of distinction?
So we were founded in Tyler, Texas in 1964. And our mission statement is that we strive to enhance the lives of youth and adults through community-based programs. And of course, we measure our success by the improved quality of life experienced by those that we serve. So, Tops in Service is what Top Ladies of Distinction represents. Our programs and our projects rely on each member as they embrace our goals and objectives. We have 5 programmatic thrusts. Our top teams are our primary thrust, our signature program, our status of women, where we try to enhance the status of our women in any way that we possibly can. We want to provide a wholesome life for our senior citizen. We also strive to have individuals to help us to beautify the community. And then, of course, we work with others in relationships, building relationships through our community partnerships, programmatic thrust. So our mission is clear. Enhancing and enriching the lives of youth and adults through our community-based programs. And the key is sustaining a viable organization as we help change the world with our through the community. And we do consider ourselves to be tops in service. That is our aim.
And as far as your young people, what is the age range there? How young can they become a member of that organization, of that segment of your organization?
So our youth group is age 13 to 18.
Okay.
Yes.
And then they just accelerate into the adult portion at age 18.
That is our goal for the young ladies. We do have a Top Teens of America alumni group in which those individuals, after they've graduated from college, may become a part of that organization. And of course, the purpose of the Top Teens of America alumni group is for them to provide a platform and an opportunity for those former top teens to come together and have a purpose-driven statement to also give back to the top teams, excuse me, that are current members. And so it's been very successful. We've held many activities in collaboration with the top teens alumni group, and we look forward, to moving forward with building that knowledge base and working with the other individuals from the various chapters as they become members of the alumni group.
As we close out, ladies, I just want to ask you
Excuse me.
if you have any words of wisdom or advice, especially people who are going through some mental wellness challenges right now, and things that you would suggest to them. Just a couple on each of your parts. President Liberty, for instance, you have done something in terms of lifting
Yeah.
people's spirits and that sort of thing. Can you add to that?
Yeah, I think when we look at ourselves as women, we're mothers, wives, girlfriends, partners, business leaders. I know I have a very large job in addition to being the president of the organization.
Mhm.
We are sit on boards. We're taking care of Asian parents. So when you think about all of that with women, I always say that we need to focus, and that focus is to get enough sleep. I'm preaching to the choir right now. Preaching to myself. I went to bed at 2 a.m. last night and woke up at 7:30 a.m. for a
Mhm.
conference call.
There you
But
go.
get enough sleep. And there's different sleep monitors that are out there. They even have it on our cell phones now. I just ignore mine, right? But I mean, I'm encouraging everyone to get enough sleep. I do something now because I'm not outside as much because we are so virtual on calls most of the day. I actually walk when I'm on my call. So if I
Mhm.
actually had the urge while we were sitting on this call, it's something that I do. I walk with my headset around my house,
Mhm.
just keep
Mhm.
moving, right? Just to
Mhm.
get up and move. And then eating healthy because we are attached closer to our refrigerator. Sometimes that's a good thing for COVID. I didn't gain much weight in COVID. I actually stayed the same weight. I didn't lose any additional, but it was because I had to now cook my food. I can't run through a drive-through. I can't,
Mhm.
shove food in very quickly. And of course, I always say this: avoid things that resist beginnings. And when I say resist beginnings, I'm saying alcohol use, drug use, tobacco use, those kind of things. And I would love this last one to limit screen time because although we're
Yeah.
virtual, we're expected to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, because we're everywhere, we are not limiting our screen time, which is hurting our eyes. So, I assume that this is a good time to be in ophthalmology studying it because no one's going to be able to see. We're constantly looking at screens. So,
That's good.
and
Right.
just take care of yourself. Catch up on
Yeah.
some mindless TV, read a book, do audiobooks, date your husband, those kind of things. Spend good quality time with your
Nice.
families.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. President Beard, I hear you amening over there to some of you. You have suggestions of your own?
Yes. One, just to be prayerful
Mm.
at all times,
Mhm.
and try
Amen.
to have a regular routine. Um, Sometimes the news is overwhelming, so you want to limit your exposure to the news at some time.
Mhm.
You want to stay busy, keep your mind occupied, focus on the positive. I like to engage with the girltrek.org. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's wonderful. And it could keep you busy for the entire year.
Nice.
There are so many activities readily available. You always want to focus on positive thoughts. Um, Sometimes it's just overwhelming to be in the house, and you just need to get out and walk and enjoy the sunshine and some of those
Right.
things that we've always taken for granted.
Right.
Um, we also want to set priorities. This may be the perfect time for you to begin um, cleaning out closets and
Out with the old. Yeah.
right,
My
scaling
husband would be
down.
happy about that. He would be happy. Throw those shoes away and get rid of those
Right.
too big clothes.
Scaling down on some things,
Yeah.
and set some reasonable goals for yourself. Sometimes you can really set goals that are overreaching, overarching for yourself, and that brings about stress. So if
Right.
you can keep those reasonable, it works. And then of course you want to connect with others. I
Yeah,
don't think anyone should be in the house for a week or 3 days without having some interaction with
right,
another human body.
right.
And then you've got to know when to ask for help. So,
Mm,
if you're feeling some kind of way, people need to know it's okay if you're not okay,
mhm.
Mhm.
but you need to have some resources available for you to reach out and touch or to just talk to someone so that you can get through that moment.
You know what? It sounds like you all have been talking to my best friend Yolanda Starks White. I get this every day. I get this every day. Whether it's in a yoga class or whatever. But I thank you for the reminder, and I
Yeah.
think we all need to be reminded of this. And
Yeah.
I just want to thank you all. Thank you both for coming on today and
Yes.
sharing your knowledge, your expertise, and your hearts with us. It has been a good reminder of all of the good things that are going on out there with organizations such as yourselves and as well as the umbrella organization Sisters United for Reform. Tomorrow, I just want to tell you guys to get your popcorn ready, that we are going to have our regular live show. That's at 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock on the East Coast, and that'll be with Stephen Hill and Myra J. And
Oh,
then post debate. Yes, we did this last week and we had such a great time. And that was a crazy debate. Tomorrow will be the one featuring Senator Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence. And we will have our post debate roundtable with all of the folks that you have come to know and love, especially from the Tom Joyner Morning Show, including Jackie Reed, Two Funny Mamas, Sherry Shepard, and Kim Whitley.
oh,
George Wallace will be with us. Myra J will be with us. Dominique, Chris Paul, Stephen Hill will be there, and more. We always love when and more
Okay.
shows up.
Mhm.
But that will be right after the debate, and that's probably about 10:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 Central. And I hope that everybody will join us here on Facebook Live and YouTube
Mm.
Live. I must thank you as I thank you all again, and also thank to a big thanks to Cheryl Proctor Rogers at a
yes.
Step Ahead PR, and she has really shown us what it is to bring sisterhood to life, and bringing us together with this series of discussions with Sisters United for Reform. Next week, we will have the power of the sisterhood, and we will be talking with Margaret Gaines Clark, the national president of the Girlfriends Incorporated.
Mhm.
As we mentioned earlier, Dr. Glenda Glover, who is the international president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Mhm.
Guinevere Hess, president of Black Women's Agenda. Dr. Kimberly Jeffries Leonard, national president of the Links, and Beverly Evans Smith, our friend, who is the national president and CEO of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. The
Mhm.
following week, we'll talk about police reform and combating systemic racism. And the final week will be voter mobilization, education, and engagement. And that will be the week before the general election.
Yes.
That will be the last day we can vote, November 3rd. If
Yeah.
you all,
Yeah.
if you all have already gotten out there and voted, good on you.
Mhm.
Um, as we have mentioned, we here at the What You Need to Know newsletter and What You Need to Know broadcast here on a mission to inform and empower our community, and we need your help. We're running this organization as an independent, and we all got fired in April. So we're doing this
Mm.
on a shoestring, and we have wonderful women who are
Mm.
giving of their time and their services to help us to continue to spread the word about joining the newsletter and signing up for it, as well as joining us here on YouTube and Facebook Live. And we're trying to get as many subscribers as we possibly can,
Okay.
as through the newsletter and YouTube. And so we're asking you to sign yourselves up. It makes a wonderful holiday gift. Okay. I'm not sure which holiday, but we always celebrate information and empowerment. So
That's
let us
right.
use that as an opportunity to give to your family, to sign and encourage your coworkers, your family members, as I said, and friends. And we can do this. And I'm so thankful to the sisterhood for helping me as a part of this. And I ask you all to continue to support us, because we're trying the very best we can to get the information out there.
Yeah.
And as Tom Joyner taught us, to super serve the African American community. So with that, I thank you both so much. I look forward to talking with you again. I wish you a lot of luck with your organizations, as well as what Sisters United for Reform are doing. And once again, say a very big thank you to President Rasheeda Liberty of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and to the wonderful President Sharon Beard of Top Ladies of Distinction. I thank you all so much. We will see you here tomorrow.
Thank
And
you.
please go out there, be good to each other, and let's lift each other up as we try to do and get through this thing called life every day. We appreciate you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Come back. I hope you all will come back.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You have a friend in Sigma Gamma Rho.
Amen.
And
Thank you.
of course, Top Ladies.
Of course. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, everybody. And thanks again, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.